Hello, hello, friends. You are listening to the We Rise Together podcast. This is a weekly podcast where 5 women have come together to help you and encourage you to living the best life that you could possibly live. We base all of our life on certain areas, and that's what this podcast is about. We hold each other up. We encourage ourselves and others in all the areas of life that need to be loved and taken care of. Areas like your finances and your faith, your family and your friends. We don't leave out fun, and we definitely don't leave out what we do for a living. So I hope you will join us every single week right here on this podcast. If you want to see us live, you can find us on YouTube. If you want to get to know us better and be a part of our community, please go over to Facebook. You can find the link in the description of this video. We have a Facebook group called We Rise Together, and we would love to have you join us in that group. So join us every single week right here. And don't forget, life is better when we rise together. Hi, friends. How are you? Welcome to the We Rise Together podcast. My name is Kori, and I am joined by the beautiful and wonderful and amazing Joanne, Greta, Krista, and Kari. So we promised you guys that we would talk about the personality test and the different colors associated with the personality test, which is blue, red, yellow, and green. Not in that specific order. That's just what came to mind. So that's what we're going to do today. I think that it'll be fun to tell you guys what our personality tests came up like and how we see each other and ourselves in those tests. So yeah, let's have at it. What do you guys think?
Awesome. I think you should go first, Kori.
Yeah, okay, I will. Okay, tilts my arm. Hold on. Okay, so I am 37% blue, 37% yellow, and 26% red. I have 0 green. Never have had any green. And what's interesting is that these can change. So as you grow as a person, your personality changes. 5 years ago, mine was like 90% blue and 5% yellow and 5% red. I personally think because there's different trajectories of this, you can be in a troublesome type of place with your personality test. You can be in a typical place, or you can be in your true actual self. And I think as you grow and change, your colors grow and change as well, because you move away from that troublesome into more of a typical or true self. I can tell you that reading through this, I definitely used to be in a troublesome shade of blue, but I think that I do exert more of a truer blue nowadays, just by reading what they actually mean. So just so you guys can understand, if you guys are okay with it, I'm just going to tell them what blue means. Blue, if you're in a troublesome shade of blue, they tend to act without thought of consequence. That's me. If you can't see me because you're listening, I'm raising my hand all the way to the sky. They're terrible about not being on time, following through with their promises because of their live for the moment attitude, and their insatiable desire to please themselves first. They're unreliable, forgetful, and often speak before they think. So
I just got to say, OMG. I did not know that. And that is like nailed it on the head. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah. Like hearing, I'm so glad we're reading the colors because, just like knowing you as a friend and knowing like good times, struggle times, like it's crazy how it's matching up with you guys. So I kind of feel like I'm like the viewers learning along here too. So I feel like we should let everybody know right away. We're using jacobadamo.com. And that's where we're getting these references from. But that's amazing, Kori. Like, keep going. Sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. So that was the troublesome shade, right? That was me currently and also 5 years ago. So the typical shade is they're spontaneous and fun-loving people, me. They can bring a bright spot to any occasion. Their love of adventure and their good sense of humor make them attractive to any party, but don't make them the center of the evening because time is still just not as important as what they may be doing on any given occasion. I have been known to lose track of time. That's the typical shade of blue. And the true shade of blue is they're mindful of others' time and consider the consequences of their actions before they act. But their love of fun and their energetic behavior is inspiring to those around them when augmented by their focus to stay on track with their goals and their desires. I am going to actually say that I am not there yet. I see in myself that I do not stay as focused as I need to on my true goals and desires because I still get that squirrel brain. I will be like, whoop, and totally go off onto, something else. Yeah, so that's blue. That's the only one I'm going to cover. And I think that you guys could probably cover a different one. What do you think?
Well,
I feel like
1% blue and 41% yellow. So I can cover the yellow, although I don't have the notes in front of me, but yellows are more known for caretakers, right? They take care of everything else and put themselves last. They're very aware of what other people may be thinking. I think that's a downfall too, right? Because we're always very cautious about how we approach people because what they may think. But it can be a good trait as well, because when you're in a good state of mind, I think that's you approach people with more compassion, I guess, maybe, or more empathy. And I personally take everything in. So whether it's good or bad, I take it all in. And I think that's another one. Even if I am very empathetic and compassionate, I will take a lot of the stuff into internally and deal with it afterwards. Whereas I know some green and red personalities, they have it kind of easy when it comes to that. Right? So I have very little bit of red. I think it was like 17%, and apparently 9 or 7% green, which is very, very weird. And that's just very recent. And again, it changes for me. I was always very blue, then yellow. Now I'm more yellow. Well, even split, but first one comes up is yellow. So definitely in the last year, I feel a little bit more of that, I guess, caretaking side more so, right? I mean, Kari, I don't know if you have the notes for yellow there, but there's more to it. I just don't have the notes in front of it.
I do. So if you are in your true shade, so you're operating ideally, they know how to express their emotions and opinions in a way that remains friendly and empathetic without being overly sympathetic, right? Because sympathy really is, yeah, we have opinions about that. So they're capable of tough love and know that they can help those who truly want to change. Criticism is understood to be a part of life, and they do not take it personally. They are the ultimate team members, supporters, and natural peacemakers. Now, if you're not operating, you can pick up and dwell on people's emotions. You can dwell on how people are making you feel.
Yep.
Right. So all of that positive stuff kind of flips over, right? You'll avoid conflict at all costs. When you're operating well, you often are like a peacekeeper.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot in you.
Do you?
Like, yeah, I see that.
I mean, I have days.
right. There's times that through like with the business that we do, there's things that have just really made me angry, and you've made me see the other side of it. So yeah, so that's the yellow part of you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I've seen it too with you.
Yeah, it's.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought being yellow is a hard trait to have most days, right? Like especially when you're kind of not at your optimal level.
Yeah,
Because it's very
if
draining.
you were working where you're supposed to be, it would actually be okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
And
would think yellow would, you guys would have a hard time keeping it there because of that, though, maybe.
it is, and then I think that's where a lot of the struggles for us come from is when we're, balanced, it comes naturally, comes easy, everything just kind of rolls, right? But when it's out of balance, it's really hard to kind of pull yourself out of that. So it's a lot of kind of back and forth. It's probably the most exhausting personality trait. I mean, I have blue in me, so I love to have fun. I'm very spontaneous. Like you tell me we're going somewhere tomorrow, I'll be packed in 5 minutes.
But also, it's emotionally exhausting being a yellow because
Yeah.
you just want to help other people,
Right.
especially if it's, for me, if it's emotion, I want to help people feel better. I'm like, I just want to help you feel better. Like, I become a fix it, like a fix, because I think that I can just help that person. Right. And so it's emotionally draining for us yellows when we're not operating at optimal level, because we can literally be like almost naive to other people's emotional manipulation.
Absolutely.
And think that we're doing the right thing by helping them, by standing by them. A lot of yellows get involved in really narcissistic relationships because yellows really want to help people, and they draw those kind of people to them because they can emotionally manipulate them. And it's easy for a yellow to fall off of that balanced spectrum with the emotion. So if that sounds like you, definitely take the test.
Right. I think it's honestly just to be aware of that gives you a little bit of release, I guess, that emotional release where it's like, okay, I don't always have to be the one supportive. And I mean, it's always good to be supportive, but there's just sometimes you need to let go and let people just deal with their stuff, right? And that's a hard one for me to do. Like saying no to someone is a hard thing. Now, I did mention that I have a little bit of red in it, in my scores that we got today, and that comes out when I used to work full time. That comes out there. Like if somebody gives me, or if I know that things are just kind of falling apart and no one's doing what they're supposed to do, I'm like, I'm there, I'm doing everything. Because I need this machine to run properly. I'm usually like, yeah, this needs oil, let's just keep going, right? I can organize pretty much anything and everything within a split second. But now it's very, very little because I don't work full time. I don't have a set thing, but I love to be in a situation. I always say I work best under stress or under almost like a crisis mode, right? That's when everything just kind of lines up for me. I know exactly what to do. And it's almost like it doesn't even faze me. Came in handy when I was a nurse. Definitely, because I could just kind of block it out and just do what I needed to do. But then yellow kicks in, and then you go home and you process all of that. So I have a very exhausting personality trait. I just realized that, but it's good to know that.
And like listening to you guys talk about them, and like we, kind of had a little chat before we started this, because I'm really just learning these colors and it makes sense with everybody now.
Mhm.
And like I think about when I was 19, 20, working as a paramedic and felt like I had to take care of everybody. And it was like straight business, which would be the red, and then the yellow caring. And then it's like, I feel like when I was done with that, and the one project where we learned about Jacob's tests, during that project, I felt like I was a lot of blue and green all the time, just wanting to have fun, laid back, like whatever. But all the stuff you guys have been reading. And then now my most recent test had the 46% red and 26% blue, 22% green, and a little yellow. And just hearing you guys explain about the different levels, sorry, I'm losing my voice, I guess. I've been yelling at the boys. Anyways,
You've been
I
too
can
red
see
today.
the like, yeah, I have. Yes, yes, yes. But it's so cool though, listening to and reading the different areas of it, and then going back and looking at your life. And now, like, even trying to understand you guys better, and knowing like why we've connected and how, and those different colors, like, it just makes me feel like going forward in the future, it's just going to keep making us stronger to, keep impacting people like we want to do. It's amazing information.
And it's a question that everyone says or asks at one point in their life is, why am I around certain types of people, right? Why am I always attracting certain types of people? I mean, I hear that all the time, talking to my daughter, talking to friends, talking to you guys, right? And that really comes from certain personality traits that we have. And once you know that, once you kind of read into it and explain it, you kind of go, oh, well, there you go, right? There's always something. I mean, every personality trait has something amazing about them, right? So you kind of go, oh, I love that person because of that, right? I love the person because
Yeah.
they keep me on track and they have a schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
So Joanne, I love you both, because
I was gonna say,
on.
like, you guys, have been, Kori talks about being blue, 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 blue. I did the test today. I did it 8 days ago. Different responses.
Mhm.
So I just consider myself a chameleon, because I take on whatever is going on around me or whoever I'm with. So this is a perfect example. On March the 1st, I had 26% yellow. Today, I had 41% yellow. There's stuff going on around me in my life, in my friends' lives, at work, whatever, that has brought out that nurturing, mothering, taking care of everybody aspect. On 8 days ago, my blue was 33%. Today, it's 30%. So my blue, pretty much the same. 8 days ago, 30% red. Today, 15% red. So basically that part, I'm just like, whatever, it doesn't matter today. And this is the kicker, because when I first started taking this test, I had just little bits of green, a little bit, like 5-10%. On the first, it was 11%. Today it's 15%, and that's the highest it's ever been.
Wow.
So, but Kari and I have been talking today off and on, and so I swear she's rubbing off on me. So even if you take the test once, it's not in stone. It's a quiz. It's just something, it's guidelines. Keep going back and document it. Whether you put notes on your phone, whether you keep a screenshot of the results and go back and look, and maybe make some notes of what's going on in your life at the time. And then you might start seeing a trend. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Or who you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
Or who you're hanging out with. Like Kori just showed, put it in a journal. When you're journaling, mark down your results each time, and then that might help things come out. I find it's very intriguing how, and like this time yellow is way high, number one, And last time blue was high, but just by a little bit. So I don't even have the same color that shows as the top trait all the time.
Dominant. Yeah.
It surprises me that you're not more green, Joanne. It really does. It surprises me a lot that you're not more green. Are you telling the truth?
What I said. I think that she should be more green. Like as a green,
Yeah,
I see green in her.
me
right?
too.
But you know what, you guys,
I do have to say, on the questions, I have a real tough time sometimes picking one. Some of them, like this, right? Yeah, out of the 4, not an issue. But there's some, it's like, which one do I pick?
But you got to pick the one that first comes to mind. That's
First
the trick.
one.
And that's usually what, and that's
instantly-
usually what I end up taking. But I'm like, oh,
But see, that's the yellow. Because I just realized that I have the same thing, and it's the yellow. You start to kind of question. You're like, oh, but I'd like people to think I'm like this.
Right.
But
I think you're right, Greta, because you know what?
It is.
I've been doing this test for probably 4 years, and I have always been almost equal red-green and dominant, like 2% yellow, 4% blue, just red-green, which isn't a good time, and I'll tell you why after. But this time I took this test, I'm 30% red, 26% green, which that's normal, 26% yellow. What is going on?
You're hanging out with the right
19%
people.
blue. I'm almost like a freaking rainbow. Before, honestly, for years, you guys, probably taken this test 10 times, and I have never had these numbers. So I think it's a lot of you guys rubbing off.
You're welcome.
We're wearing off on you.
You're welcome.
We
Or your
party too.
grandkids. Or your grandkids.
It could be. I think too, though, right now, with the yellow part from listening to Greta talk about a bit, just within our team right now, right? Our team is going through a little bit of shift, and I think that's maybe supplying a little bit of that yellow to me. And I would think the blue part, just doing podcasts, doing op calls, doing the things where you're more spontaneous and talking, that's probably brought the blue out. But I'm going to talk about the red and the green. So a green personality, we need to look and make sure that everything is right. We need to make sure we do research. We got all the things. We don't jump into anything because that's scary. We just got to sit back, make sure everything's going to be right before we try. And red is the complete opposite. Red is like, okay, boom, let's do it. So what I've done for how long is the red and the green fight. So it's like a back and a forth. And it can be really sometimes, it's I don't know, it's annoying. I annoy myself. It's like, okay, let's just go do it. And then it'd be like, okay, well, maybe I should go check that first, because if that's not like that, then I probably shouldn't do this.
You know, it's funny because I heard you say that so many times.
I know.
And I'm like, wait a minute. You're literally talking yourself out of doing something that you just told yourself you should do.
I know. And that's what happens. So I find now, I think I'm operating a little bit more, the red is better with me. It's operating more where it should be. So that kind of helps with it. So I don't do as much research as I used to with things, but yeah, I still want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about, why I would never, you know what I mean? And not, I've learned something about you blues is if I want you to hear what I'm saying, I make you look at me. Okay, look at me now. I'm going to tell you something. Right? So
that's true. Actually, I never even realized that until you said that.
That's because
I'm going to point it out now every time.
Blue's squirrel. And
yes,
that's where the blue in me, that's very, very one of the high most
right. And an example of that is last week's podcast. I mean, we didn't talk anything about what we had planned to talk about. Now, a year ago, I would have literally been like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And it would be like, I would actually probably have cut you guys off in it and said, okay, we need to get back on track, you guys. This is crazy. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Right. So that part is good.
You know what?
Hanging out with blues.
You gotta live life, man.
Right?
You gotta like roll with it sometimes. Blue is such a rolling with the homies type of color that, you know, we're all, you know how many people in the 60s were probably blue and yellow?
Oh yeah.
Free love, hippie, like that's blue, yellow all the way.
Yeah.
I was probably the cop at Woodstock and you were the hippie.
And I was like flower power. Like, that was totally me. I probably died at Woodstock. Reincarnated.
So I just redid mine while we were sitting here, because you guys said it said the first answer that comes to your mind, because I sometimes flip-flop too. Right. And I'm 33% red, 33% blue, 30% yellow, and 4% green.
Wow, that's a funny split. But I can see it.
Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah.
So with blues and reds, so reds are action, right? They're like business, they're decision making. They go for it. So I'm screwed because I'm 37% blue, but I'm 26% red. So when something's fun and someone says you want to do it, my blue says, "Oh, that's fun." My red says, "Do it."
Your red doesn't even kick in. It's like, just go do it. You know, you want to.
I know for a fact it's my red that I make decisions very, very quickly. Like I have like a knowingness, and that's the red in me. Like, boom. 100%. I sometimes will pull back and say, okay, now I need to go make sure that that's right.
See, I don't do the part.
Yeah. That's the green.
So green is like research, facts, structure, analytical.
Very analytical. Yeah.
Like if you're not operating at your, like, if you're a troublesome shade, what does green look like?
If you're a troublesome green, you will stay stuck within yourself. You'll sit back because you're just not sure. Like you just won't do the things you know you should do. And then you'll actually get mad at yourself because you know you should be doing it.
Right.
And you go back and say, well, I better double check again.
Right.
Yeah. So
sitting here listening to you say that, Kari, way back when I first started working with the company I'm still with, there was a group of us. We had the same jobs and we were around the province, and they finally brought us together for a face-to-face. There was one girl, she just never fit in. She drove all of us absolutely freaking crazy, like just hair pulling, right? And we did a personality test. Wasn't this one in it? The colors were actually gold, purple, green, and stuff, whatever.
Yeah, I've done that.
Different colors, right? Orange was one of them, and she was the only one that had orange. All the rest of us had dominant colors in the other ones. And that was the moment when I went, that explains so much, because we talked about the personality traits. We talked about what, why she was orange, why some were gold, some were purple. And it just made so much more sense. So then to me, she became less frustrating because I understood where she was coming from. So, even if you don't take this quiz, or you have the people around you that don't take it, read through the true, the troublesome, and what's the other one?
Yeah, so it's the troublesome shade, the typical shade.
The typical. The true, the typical, and the troublesome. Read through them, because you might start recognizing traits in yourself. You'll start recognizing traits in other people. It'll help you understand them. Will help you understand yourself, so that you can get along better with people, because you know what, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And there's the yellow coming out in me.
And if you're an employer, have your employees do it. Ask them if they want to do it, because I think that it would help people that work on a team to know each other's personality traits, because you don't look past the surface most of the time when you're dealing with at work people. Now, when you're dealing with people like, the five of us, the way we work together, it's a little different because we're all visionaries. We're all, you know what I mean? We all have like goals and aspirations, and we want to change the world and all that stuff. And so, I mean, it is nice to know, but I could have pegged your guys' colors from a mile away only because I know the personality test and have gotten to know you so well. You know what I mean? I mean, Kari literally bleeds red and green. I mean, honestly, like she totally does. I would have gotten Joanne completely wrong though. I would have completely thought you had more green in you, way more, but a lot of yellow. I would have said a ton of yellow for you. Greta, blue and yellow all the way, 100%.
Yeah.
Krista, I would have thought you had more blue than anything else, honestly, because you like to laugh, you like to have fun, you like everything's
it's
fun.
Almost equal with a red though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost She's in the 30th percentile also. And it's just kind of funny because, I mean, I can almost like tell you right now that my husband's probably majority green.
So is mine.
And I drive him freaking nuts.
I'm just laughing.
Oh my gosh, that's the same as mine too. I'm reading it now, and oh my gosh, yeah. And
That's
now I can understand more.
My husband would be blue and yellow. He'd be blue and yellow. Yeah.
So opposites attract.
Obviously.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
It drives me a little crazy, not gonna lie.
My husband's, I guarantee you, he's green red. I guarantee 1000% green red with little yellow. He's probably
So it's a good thing you have lots to make up for the balance, right?
We balance each other out, and it works.
Right.
It does.
Yeah.
He keeps me on the, like, he keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To where I don't float off, because he always says, Kori, you live with your head in the clouds. You have got to. I'm like, I do not. I am a dreamer, and what is that harm in that? And
But
he's
see,
like,
you need a scale, right?
you need a
If
scale.
you have
He's a
two
Libra.
reds and you're constantly
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say,
I can't even imagine husband and wife and both being red.
he's
I
red.
can't.
He's probably trying to balance the checkbook while your heads are in the clouds. While your head's in the clouds.
1000% correct. You just said that I need the scales. He's a Libra.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at that.
Oh.
I'm Aquarius.
So there's a whole other podcast topic.
There's a whole
Right?
for sure. Relationships and where we're at.
So if you guys want to take this test, we'll put it in the show notes. Yeah. Joanne, or
Yeah.
that's obviously way too green for me. I'll forget.
You just wanted there to have fun.
I just want it there so I can go in
Yeah.
and I can just make it easy. Okay. Just make it easy. But we'll put it in the show notes so that you guys have, you know, the ease of use and can find it, because it's actually really cool and it's really fun to find all this stuff out about yourself. I think.
And have fun with it.
Especially
I think
if you're trying, like in business or anything like that. I found it very helpful.
for sure.
Okay,
Kori,
hold
not
on.
so much, but
Greta goes, and have some fun with it. And Kari goes, and especially if you're in business.
Oh, I love
so
it.
funny. Okay, so with that, you guys, thanks for joining us again. We just love doing these podcasts. They're getting to be super fun. So, and remember, we rise together. Well, that's a wrap for this episode. We are so grateful you joined us as we discuss our experiences on our life's paths. Our vision, no matter where you are in your life path, is to add value to your life by sharing ours. You can find more incredible resources in our We Rise Together Facebook group. We'll leave the link posted in the show notes at the bottom. And until next time, we appreciate you, and remember, we rise together.